Chasm Converses.
Hello listeners and welcome to Chasm Converses, the place where I discover, meet and talk to creative people, artists from all over the world. But firstly, a big announcement. I am returning to the professional wrestling ring for my first match in over 5 years. It'll be at Riot City Wrestling, Mean Street Mayhem, this Saturday, June 22nd from the RCW Academy. Tickets available at their website. It's going to be a massive show, not only for me, but also for the most dominant force in Australian wrestling, Delta, who wrestles her final match inside the Academy before having her final match in Australia on July 6th as RCW presents Heavy is the Crown. Now on to my guest this week. We're heading to Finland, where I converse with Sanna and Joel, members of the modern metalcore band My Favourite Nemesis, who recently finished a tour of the UK, as well as releasing their newest EP, We Annihilate I. Join us for the conversation and let's get conversing. Sanna and Joel, welcome to Chasm Converses.
Thank you. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
It's awesome to have you guys here today. Thank you again so much for taking time out of your, I'm sure, very busy lives to join me and have a chat about your creative lives, your music, your band, all that kind of stuff. So firstly, I shall say that you're joining me from Finland, which is incredible. And you both live, obviously, quite close to each other, which is also pretty good. Have you both lived there your whole lives?
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Quite close to Helsinki. Yeah. Always in Finland. I actually lived in Australia for a year. I was there on a holiday.
That's sick. All right, whereabouts in Australia did you live?
I was 3 months in Brisbane, 3 months in Sydney, and 6 months in Melbourne.
Oh, right. So you got all the good places. You missed Adelaide.
Yeah.
No. That's sick though. How did you enjoy Australia? Did you like it over here?
Oh yeah, I did. I actually miss it a lot. There's a couple of friends I would like to get together, but yeah, the plane tickets are super expensive. So maybe one day.
Exactly, very true. Have you ever been to Australia, Joel?
No, I haven't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Would love to, though.
Well, I'd absolutely love to ask you guys, both individually, what was your inspiration to become musicians and be creative individuals as you are? When you were much younger, did you want to do music when you were younger growing up, or is it something that you sort of, I guess, fell into a bit later on as you started to get older? So take me through your inspirations for wanting to be musicians.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I guess I started hearing music from my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of fell in love with Led Zeppelin and Church Hotel and Deep Purple.
Hell yeah, my dad loves Led Zeppelin too. They are such a massive influence, hey?
Yeah, and I just remember watching Led Zeppelin live videos and going as close as I can to the TV and just looking at Jimmy Page that's really cool. I want to do that.
Hell yeah.
And then I just kind of started discovering bands on my own, going from the 70s bands to first Iron Maiden and then Metallica, Megadeth, and then going through the 90s and bands. And then what really made me start to want to actually write music and not just learn other people's riffs were bands like Trivium and
yes,
Children of Bodom, and those kind of bands that were big around 2005.
Yeah, massive. I'm a massive Trivium fan, so they're one band that I haven't actually seen yet that I really do want to see because they are awesome. But yeah, they're doing their Ascendancy tour around about next year, I think it is. I think they're doing Europe and they're doing all of that sort of coastal stuff. So I'm thinking maybe I should go back up there and see that show because it would be so cool. But that's amazing that they're a real good inspiration for you for starting playing guitar.
Yeah, really big. Yeah, one of my biggest bands still that I listen to.
Hell yeah. That's fantastic. And then I guess through like, playing guitar and obviously, I mean, it's so cool that you're able to sort of dip into like, the real classics, like, the Led Zeppelin and the Iron Maidens and the Metallicas, all the way to sort of like the modernized metal sound, I suppose, through like Trivium and those kind of bands to obviously create the sound that you guys now have with My Favourite Nemesis, which is, incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool, like having all of our influences kind of naturally come together.
Exactly.
What about you, Sanna?
Well, actually, it's funny because Led Zeppelin was a very big influence for me as well. My dad listened to that band as well, and that's how I fell in love with progressive music.
Yeah.
70s rock. It was my first love, and as well, my mother listened to Queen, so Queen was a big thing for me. We used to watch this VHS tape of the Queen live at Wembley 1986, I think, with my sister.
I've got that DVD. I've got that DVD at home too.
Yeah,
I remember that as well.
Yeah,
that was a massive show. So good though.
Yeah, it was. It's great. And then I started listening to like 90s rock, Guano Apes, all the grunge, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, all that stuff. So yeah, that was big for me. And I think I started singing more like raspy rock kind of thing when I started listening to Guano Apes, because Sandra Nasik was a huge influence for me, because I realized that women can do this stuff as well, because there were many women that were singing like that. So yeah, Sandra was amazing, and I was like, okay, I want to be like her. So,
hell yeah,
started doing that.
That's
Devin Townsend is one of my biggest idols as well, like singing wise.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
that's so good. Like, and that's the biggest thing about like I think even metal in general is that like because it wasn't really a thing like real far back in the day, everyone just sort of got their influences from I guess like classic rock and that sort of thing, and kind of as the sound I guess started to progress, they sort of molded it all together and then sort of built up. So obviously the Metallicas and that sort of stuff, even like through all those bands, but especially with like with the especially in the modern day with like women vocalists, there's so many now, which is so great to see, because back in the day there weren't too many. I mean, I think Angela Gozzo from Arch Enemy is still the main one for me that kind of sticks out, or like Amy Lee from Evanescence, but like going up through all that kind of stuff and realizing that like even though there's only a few doing it, you obviously thought like there's a few doing it, but that means that it can be done, so I might as well go and do it. That's an awesome thing that you had, like being able to branch out and do that for yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
But even so, it's great that you guys decided that you're going to like, bring all that sound into this band. And so I'd love to know how you guys all kind of came together, because there's quite a few of you. So did you all sort of know each other from back in the day, or like were you all in previous bands and you sort of linked up together?
I've only been in this band for 2 years or so. Yeah. But these guys knew each other from, I don't know, how long have you, Joel, known each other?
The original lineup, we know each other from school, and after we graduated, just drank beer and played metal.
Hell yeah, dude, that's sick.
Didn't have any like big goals at the start, just doing because we like to do it. And then Janne, our vocalist, joined, and our other guitar player, also Janne, joined. And then we started taking it more seriously and actually recording the stuff we wrote and not just forgetting it.
That's so cool, man. I mean, I will say, especially like the lead vocalist has got some absolutely incredible vocals. I am just, I'm absolutely just awe whenever I listen to like your songs, and he's just bringing out the voice, and it's just like, wow, it's probably one of the best vocalists like that I've heard. But even like the the riffs and all that kind of stuff that you guys created, it's so great that it's something that you guys built up from like high school, and the band is like still going. But not only that, like obviously it's like it's progressing, and there's obviously more going on, because you've done like singles, and obviously like you've done a bunch of albums as well.
Yeah, it's been really cool, and like seeing it evolve from just like a thing we do in the weekends to actual band.
And so, Sana, obviously you were here, you came in only for 2 years. So what were you doing before you joined this band?
Well, I was in this progressive metal band called Fireproven before, and we were actually on a gig with My Favorite Nemesis.
Oh, right, okay.
And they were looking for a new singer, and they contacted me, and I was like, yeah, I'm interested because I love their music, and so I joined.
That's fantastic. It's so cool because your vocals also are just obviously amazing. You remind me a lot of a vocalist that we have here in South Australia called Felicia Tasson, who sings for a band called Connections, because she also does screams and she does clean singing as well. And you guys have a very similar kind of vibe with your vocals. So obviously when I heard the music, I was like, oh wow, I can sort of make that kind of a connection.
Yeah.
But okay, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, it's wonderful. So did the band always have like a female vocalist, or was it mainly kind of, I guess, male orientated for this from the start, sort of building up?
There was a male, wasn't there the drummer?
We didn't have our old drummer was the singer as well.
Right. Okay. That's awesome. That's sick. I love people that can, like drummers especially, right? That can drum and sing at the same time. That's just insane, man. Like you can, you play guitar, you play bass or whatever, and then like someone that can hit the percussions and then deliver like either like incredible notes or even just screams, stuff like that. It's
really hard.
Next level, but even so, that's sick. I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But even so, like I love the fact that you guys are all sort of in this together. And obviously more recently you just went to London, which is like awesome. Have you guys ever sort of toured London before, or have you all been to London before, or is it like the first time for some people?
I've been there before, but just on a holiday, and this was the first time we went there doing gigs and stuff. So yeah. But that was super cool. Yeah, we had 3 shows in England. One was in London, and we had one festival gig in Leicester. Uprising Festival, and one club show in Bournemouth.
Right, awesome. Yeah, because it was Uprising Festival, I think, is where I actually found out about you guys, which is kind of cool. Because I think that Cellar Darling were on that bill. And so, so when they promoted that, they had the poster out with all the bands and stuff. And I saw them last year in October, which was awesome. And this was their only London show they were doing. And so I was a bit like, damn, I'm not going to be able to see them when I come back. But it's cool. I wonder if you guys have done this where like, you see like a festival lineup and you go down, you see like the list of bands, and obviously there's heaps there. And because it was such a cohesive lineup of bands from Europe and like obviously from different countries like the Sweden, all that sort of stuff, I didn't hardly know any of them. So I was like, maybe I'll just like search up a few of the bands and that sort of stuff. And I searched you guys up because I really liked your name. So,
cool.
I saw My Favorite Nemesis. I was like, that's a sick name. I'm going to search you guys up. And then as soon as I heard We Annihilate, I was like, oh my God, this is absolutely insane. Like, have you guys done that as well, where you started to follow bands based on like what their name is?
Sometimes, I might check them out. Yeah.
I definitely did that more when I was a teenager, like seeing a band I like on tour, and I would listen to all the other acts on the bill, even though it was like a North American tour or something that I wouldn't see. So I would always, check out the bands that were listed. The same tours and same festivals.
How was that festival? That would have been so great to play with so many different bands. Did you guys know some of the bands that were on that bill, or did you make some like really good connections and make some new friends and such?
No, we didn't. Of course, there were like, we were familiar with like Catatonia, a few bands, but we didn't know anyone there. So, but it was amazing. I loved being there, and everything went super well, and it was like well arranged.
Yeah, I feel like a festival is like a really big thing, obviously, when you put it up and all the rest of it. So like you need to make sure like it's all like it all runs very, very smoothly. Because I feel like we've probably all both been to festivals where like, they don't run smoothly and, things go down. Especially on like stages and all that sort of stuff. But even so, like it's great that you guys obviously went over there, you played some shows. Did you enjoy the Fighting Cocks gig in London? I did go to that venue. That venue looked really good.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, the crowd was insane. We loved it. Yeah.
It's one of those things like if you've been like when it comes to touring stuff, because obviously you guys are based in Finland. And so like I guess your music now is just starting to like, carry along across into different countries and that kind of stuff as well. Have you been to, did you kind of feel that when you went and you played those shows in London, like people sort of knew who you were, they knew the songs and stuff? Or did you feel like it was almost like a first meeting?
I think the last last one. So yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
mostly. Yeah.
there were a couple of people that had checked us out, but they didn't really know us. They just seen an ad on like Instagram and they came to the gig, and yeah, but it was a first meeting for sure.
Well, I'd love to go on into your EP, We Annihilate I, because it's like awesome. I absolutely like just, I think it's a really fucking cool EP. It sounds just so crisp and so beautiful. Do you guys, when you record your songs, do you have like your own team sort of that you have of like sound engineers and producers and that sort of stuff that you sort of go with whenever you sort of are ready to record a song or an album or something like that so that the sound's all sort of cohesive? Or do you sort of go to different people every time?
When it comes to the recording, we do everything ourselves now.
Wow, that's sick.
Like I just record guitars at home, and Sanna and Janne record the vocals at the our practice space mostly. And then just
Yep.
we've had a few producers and mixers, but we're really happy with how We Annihilate sounds. So
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely going to use Rami's mixing again for the next EP because the sound is like very good. We're very happy with it.
I found that as well. As I said, when I first listened to it, it was just eargasm, just incredible. Like very modern, like very modern metalcore, but it's really, really wonderful. And I think a lot of people are going to like realize that the more that it kind of circulates as well. And so when it does come to sort of, it's great that you guys can do it all yourselves in your own sort of like environments, which is quite good because sometimes obviously when you go to like different studios and that sort of stuff, the prepping is very different. You have to sort of, obviously you're well rehearsed, and sometimes when you're on the spot trying to do things, you're like, oh no, I knew this before, now I'm like making mistakes. But like in your own like sort of in your own like practice space, I feel like maybe the environment might be a bit more relaxed, a bit more like enjoyable, I suppose, to record in.
It is, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely. There's like everything. There's downsides and upsides to both. Like sometimes the kind of pressure is good when you're at the studio and you have an hour left and you still have to record one song or whatever the situation is. Sometimes that's like good and that makes your performance better, but I don't know.
It depends on who's recording you. Like with some sound engineers, it's easier to work with, and I kind of like that they like tell you like if you're doing it wrong, like do it again. You can do better,
Yeah. Are you both very like sort of are you both very kind of like hard on yourselves when it does come to doing recording and taking like doing takes and that kind of stuff?
Yep.
yeah, definitely.
A bit too hard sometimes, but
Yep. I mean, with vocalists, I know for sure. I mean, with the guitarists, obviously I've got a band of my own, and I go in and watch my guitar when he records and stuff like that. And it's sometimes it's quite a different process, but it's always very niggly. It's always like little things that like you could do a little bit better this time, or this take could be a little better than that. But like even so, and then sometimes you change things up, and then you go and you try and play it on stage to people, and then you forget what it is you just learned in the studio. And you sort of revert back to what you did before.
Yeah.
Have you had that as well?
Definitely. At least when it comes to like picking styles and how you perform a certain riff, like it changes for a while.
And so, Sanna, with your like, even with your vocals and that kind of stuff, when you're going into the studio to record and that sort of thing, do you sort of have like a way that you do prepare to do your screams and to do your cleans? Like, Because some people do have sort of like things that they do, like they'll do their warm-ups and their exercises and that sort of stuff. But sometimes it can be like very strenuous, obviously, for a whole day of recording, going in and sort of like, trying to do it as much as you can. Do you find that you can sort of last quite a while during the day when you are doing your vocals, or sometimes it might be a bit shorter?
Yeah, it depends on the day, but usually I can last quite long, and I like to do like longer days instead of like many days in a row. Like I rather do like a 12 hours.
Yeah, right. Jesus,
If it's possible, if I can last that long. But yeah, I rather do like long days rather than like many short days. It's easier for me. And yeah, of course I do the warm ups and etc. So yeah, but I sing a lot, so I think I can like last longer than some singers because I do practice like every week.
All right. Okay.
So yeah.
Sick. How did you learn to sort of sing and scream? Because again, I guess going back to like our conversation before with how metal, like back in the day, wasn't like a massive, massive thing. So you had to sort of just start to learn things as other people sort of start to do them. So like obviously back in the day, there wasn't a lot of like metal vocalist coaches or that kind of stuff. People were sort of just trying to figure it out as they went along. So how did you like learn how to scream and how to sing in the way that you do?
Well, I think I just practiced myself and I watched a lot of YouTube videos. And obviously, I've had singing lessons, but none of my teachers knew about metal. So it was just more like jazz, maybe rock, but so yeah, I just practiced myself. And my brother is a very good metal singer. So he told me some good tips when I started doing screams. And I've been only screaming for like maybe 5 years or so.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. So yeah, he told me like how to get started with it, and yeah, I just practiced a lot. So and I'm still like practicing, especially the growls and screams. But like obviously, I've been singing clean vocals for ages. So yeah.
Yeah, right. Cool. That's awesome. I'd love to ask the both of you, obviously, because you've both been in bands for like a while now. Like, what's probably the biggest change and the biggest challenge that you've both had to deal with being like in bands from when you sort of like first started to it being kind of now with the change in like, the technology and like the socials and all that kind of stuff? Like, what are the biggest challenges that you think that you guys have faced?
Well, I think it's like you have to do all the emails and social media and all that. Like it's like 90% of the time you do that and 10% of the playing the actual music. Yeah. So it's like it's changed a lot.
100%. I agree with that.
Yeah. And yeah, the social media is a huge thing with all the bands now. So you just have to make content all the time. It takes a lot of time.
Definitely. Do you guys have like your own sort of, I guess, like content creator, or is it something that you guys just kind of have to do yourselves, just like off the cuff?
We do it ourselves, and mostly our guitar player Janne does most of the social media stuff. But yeah, we don't have anyone like doing it instead of ourselves. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Joel? What do you reckon is like probably the biggest challenge that you've had to face when it comes to like, the way that the bands have sort of been from back in the day, sort of how they are progressing in the modern day?
Probably what Sanna said, that you have to acquire a lot of different skills, or someone in the band needs to know how to work a camera or video editing and social media and ads, and
so much that goes into it.
Yeah. And sometimes it's cool because you learn a new skill that you wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah,
for sure, absolutely. I think it definitely has that. It definitely has that positive side about it because you can learn different things and all the rest of it. And I guess like the exposure rate is it's different, but it's also quite good as well because people on social media all the time. So I mean, as I said, I found you guys through that sort of pathway. So there is some like obviously real good things about it for sure.
Yeah.
But even so, I'd love to finish off by asking you guys when it comes to, because obviously, as I said before, you guys have just finished off a tour of London, which was fantastic. And you had a few shows, I think, in Finland before you left to go on that tour as well. Do you guys really enjoy like being able to go and tour and like play in different countries? Have you had it all? Have you had like extensive touring like individually or even all together as the band?
We did a short European tour before the pandemic, like Poland, Germany, Czech Republic. Yeah. But after that, we haven't been abroad at all. So it was really, really fun to like do multiple shows in a row and not just, few weekends apart, in different cities in Finland.
Yeah, it's very cool, and I think the playing gets like better and tighter if you have like multiple shows in a row. It's like that's the good thing about it as well. It becomes routine. And we had a long break. I think we had gigs in September, October, something like that, and then the next show was this spring, I think, in March. So we had a long break.
Oh wow!
So it was like it was crazy long, and the first show after a long break like that is like you're so nervous and
oh man,
you don't know if it's gonna work, and it's nerve wracking, really.
I expect so for sure. And the last thing I'd love to ask you guys is, if you were going to tour anywhere, where would you love to go next? If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you love to play a show?
Australia, of course.
Oh, you got that one. Well, hopefully that is the case, because that'd be awesome. We would. There's a lot of fucking people, I can tell you right now, that would love to see you guys come down here and play a show, amazing. Because there's so many bands over here, especially just Australian metalcore bands that you guys would suit so well, and that obviously suit you. So there's definitely that possibility if you guys ever feel like coming down here.
Oh, we would love to.
Yeah, definitely. It will be so much fun.
Well, Joel and Sanna, this has been such a lovely conversation. I really do thank you so much for joining me today, taking time out of your day to have a conversation with me about, obviously, yourselves as creative individuals and musicians, as well as the band My Favourite Nemesis. To all of my listeners, please do listen to My Favourite Nemesis, follow them on the socials, watch all their awesome video content on YouTube as well. And obviously keep an eye out for any tour dates that they have, especially if they come all the way down to Australia.
Thank you so much.
But no, thank you guys so much for joining me, and I do wish you guys all the best in the rest of your musical journey.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for joining me for the conversation with Sanna and Joel of My Favourite Nemesis. Follow them on the socials, listen to their newest EP, We Annihilate I, and support their music. Let's bring them to Australia. And thank you for supporting this podcast. A follow on the socials, a listen on Spotify, and a view on YouTube goes so far, and I appreciate every one of them. Again, grab your tickets to RCW Mean Street Mayhem this Saturday and see myself as well as some of the incredible professional wrestling talent in Australia. And be sure to join me next week for a new conversation with a new guest here on Chasm Converses.